Hello, everyone. Father Norm here. Actually, videoing this today is Tuesday. And the reasoning I'm mentioning that is tomorrow will be the conclave beginning. And hopefully, within the next couple days, there'll be a discernment and that white smoke will come up and there'll be a new pope. You may be hearing this video once that happens. But right now, for all of us, we need to pray. Not only pray, obviously, with the conclave, and within a few days, if that conclave does have someone who's going to serve as Pope, as a kind of a universal pastor. That's what Pope Francis thought of it as pastoring not only the Catholic Church, but being a pastor for the whole world community. In fact, he often spoke, I mentioned this before, that in terms of being a church, that we're meant to see ourselves as a field hospital, that there's a lot of hurting and wounded people out there. People who not only physically wounded, but emotionally wounded, people who are lonely, people who maybe are put down, people who are seen as not important. He often talked about that too, that we tend to look at people in terms of, what's their worth? And their worth measured in what kind of job do they have, how successful have they been, how much money do they make, all of that. And he wants us to know, and again, we say it a lot, but to really live it, that God calls all of us to recognize ourselves and everyone else as a human dignity, and not measuring somebody by money, by looks, by status, by leadership position, but to see every person as that child of God that again has infinite worth, and God sees the beauty and goodness of all of us. Thinking about this new pope, and this person might be, as I mentioned just earlier, already picked when you watch this, that what Pope Francis showed, and again, going back to Jesus, obviously the center, that the Pope should first of all be a servant. And Jesus talked about leadership. This Pope, and hopefully the next one, will be an effective leader. And the best leaders are those who serve. We probably remember the powerful example, don't always appreciate it the way we should, when at the Last Supper, Jesus bent down and washed his disciples' feet. And they were shocked. And that was shocking then, because they thought of the leader, the rabbi, would never do that. That's the slave or the servant or the one that really, from their mindset, wasn't capable of anything else. Well, at least they can wash the dirty feet of the disciples who were wandering around in a dirty ground, like different than we have, and sandals but not shoes. And so, but the Jesus did that. And he didn't say much about it. He first did that, and then, the question that he asks is, why? Why'd you do that? I mean, Peter said, "Wash my feet." You shouldn't be washing anybody's feet. You're the leader. You're the rabbi. And Jesus scolded again and said, "Well, hey, if you're going to lead, you need to serve others." The leadership in our own day isn't about a corner office. It isn't about a prestigious title. It isn't about how people view you and above them. But like Jesus said, it's to serve. That's why we saw from the very beginning of Pope Francis' ministry that he was reaching out and serving. He chose not to stay in the papal luxurious place, but to stay actually in the hotel where visitors came. And people were, you're the Pope, you can't do that. Well, again, he's saying, hey, I'm here to serve the people. He didn't wear all the necessarily finest garments, and he wasn't putting that down. But again, he wanted people to see, hey, I'm an ordinary human being like you. Yes, the Lord's calling me. The Lord's calling me to serve. That's the key. And I know that we all need to look at that. What kind of servant are we? I remember with a group of high school kids that I asked for a show of hands. It's a Catholic high school. And said, who here wants to grow up and be a servant? Well, nobody raised their hand. I'm sure their image of servant, which isn't a bad image, but you can say, well, a servant, that's probably somebody who, in the hotel makes the beds and makes everything nice every day, or in some other situation serves the food and makes people feel valued and looked at and wanting to see them that hey, I'm the one who cooks, or I'm the one who brings you the food. I'm the servant. And again, can be beautiful, but an attitude toward that can be, well, I certainly, if that's what it means to be servant, you say I'm going to be a servant. I'm not going to be a servant. I'm going to have a prestigious job. I'm going to make good money. I'm going to be seen, as above all, and that's what I want. I want to be. And it's interesting. There's been a lot of studies to show that when young adults become in positions of leadership and power, that often they'll say when they interview them, well, how's it going? And they might say, well, I'm making good money, I've got a successful job, but I'm still not happy. And one of the reasons can be that's come out from studies, that people can get caught up in all of that, the money you make, the prestige, how people view you. But the leaders who are the happiest are the ones who are not preoccupied with themselves. They're ones who see themselves as reaching out, and they have a higher purpose, if you will. The purpose to each day, and I know leaders in Akron area who do this, each day go to their office or to their building and try to reach out and serve the others and help other people to be what they're meant to be. And that sense of purpose-driven leadership is fundamental. Yeah, and people who have that have a greater sense of meaning and worth than financial worth. It's the worth, hey, I can go to work every day and help make everybody else there at work be a little better, encourage them, guide them, serve them so they can be their best. So when we look at that, again, we can go right back to Jesus and right back to the notion of serving. Finally, I want to use one quick example. I remember being in a school, a high school, and doing a program there and asking about the people who had the biggest impact on all the student body. And what they saw was that when they did this straw poll, that it wasn't the principal, it wasn't one of the teachers, although those were good people. The one who had the strongest impact in that school, even the kids and teachers said, was the maintenance man. And the maintenance man, you probably say, well, he doesn't have a position of leadership. Well, he was leading by the example of service himself. He was somebody who not only did the work conscientiously and felt good about what he was doing because he was making a difference in that building, but also if anybody had a need or if anybody had somebody to kind of smile at them and lift them up, it was the maintenance man that touched lives, that made a difference. And again, he felt good about the service he was doing. And he was conscientious enough to know that when he went to work every day, if he could make somebody else's day a little bit better, if he could lift somebody else, if he could do his work with a sense of pride and doing it at its best, that would make a difference. So today, do you see yourself as a servant? If you have a parent or grandparents, are you raising your kids saying, you know what? I want you someday to be a servant. A servant, Grandma, what do you mean? Well, explain this. And all of us, again, praying for this new Pope, praying for one another, that whoever we are and whatever we do and why we do it, we have a strong sense of purpose that we can serve others. God bless you as the servants hopefully you are.